Friends, this demonstration today is a great illustration of the anger and frustration that people feel. But we need to do more. We need to have more and bigger demonstrations, we need to have boycotts, and we need to have strike action in defence of living standards. The trade unions have a responsibility to maintain living standards, mainly today through wages, but now our living standards are being attacked through the increases in the cost of living. Now, there's no mystery about the rise in the cost of living. It's not like a virus. We know why it's there. It's there because the owners of companies try to squeeze more money out of people for the essentials of life. That's what's going on. The crisis is flesh and blood. It's individuals making decisions about our lifestyle. And to give an example, the CEOs recently, over the last few months, have had enormous increases in their pay. Cement Roadstone, the CEO of Cement Roadstone got €11 million last year. Did you think we were Egypts that were going to fall for this? We say, open the books. Let's have a look at the books. When the companies claim they want to raise prices, like the big supermarket chains, open the books for public scrutiny. Let's see the profits they're making. I think that must now become a central demand of all those who are fighting the cost of living. Open the books for public scrutiny. The electrical companies and the energy companies generally are saying they can't pass on the decreases in the cost of gas immediately. They'll do it over time. But when the cost goes up, the increase becomes effective immediately. Immediately. Do they think we're fools? And then they talk about commercial secrecy. To hell with commercial secrecy. Our living standards are more important than the ins and outs of the capitalist system. In housing, nobody on average wage can buy a house in Dublin now. It's 425,000. That's the average cost of a house here. Not to mention rents. People paying enormous rents can't save sufficient money to make a deposit on a house. And with regard to the banks, Allied Irish Bank last year increased their profits by 79%. 850 million extra for AIB. And Bank of Ireland, by coincidence, made roughly the same amount of money, but their profits went up by 200%. They think we're fools, that we don't notice these things. We do notice them. And the banks should be nationalised and brought into public ownership. We shouldn't be relying on private individuals. That's another demand. Nationalise the banks and let's control what's happening to our money, and also the big financial houses. 1/3 of the cost of a house at the moment is going to the landowner. The landowner has done nothing to construct the house. The landowner hasn't laid blocks, hasn't put any electrical fittings, hasn't done the plumbing, hasn't dug the foundations. The landlord did nothing, and for that, working people contribute hundreds of thousands for every house that's purchased to him, or her as the case might be. That needs to change, and the government needs to build houses themselves through agencies. There is a belief system being put out that the only way society can function is when somebody makes a profit out of it. So if there's no exploitation, there's no progress. What kind of rubbish is that? Everybody who works for a living works as hard as they can to get the best results they can. But for the capitalists, they don't work at all. They just get money from us through the sales, the profits, the house purchasing, and so on. We have a simple demand: bring this government down and replace this government with a government of the people committed to socialist policies and equality for everybody, and a decent health service, a decent housing system, a decent education system. We should mention, by the way, in terms of free education, to get a first-year student through school now, it's over €900. Free education. It's terrible. It needs to end. We need to change the system, so bring down the government and replace the government with a socialist government that's committed to policies of equality and policies of progress and a decent system of life for everybody. Thank you.